Recording. Hey everyone, my name is Ari Waldron, and I am going to be doing my case studies on the 1965 Griswold versus Connecticut case and Burwell versus Hobby Lobby ruling of 2014, and how those issues relate to privacy matters of personal rights over religious rights. Right, so the first case I'll be bringing up is the 1965 Griswold versus Connecticut case, and how it's kind of paved the way for privacy matters and how its ruling still affects decisions that are made today. Okay, so this case actually stems from a law that was made in Connecticut in 1879, and it reads, any person who uses any drug, medicinal article, or instrument for the purposes of preventing conception shall be fined not less than $40 or imprisoned not less than 60 days. And this is in cases regarding marital birth control. So people that were married that were not allowed to get birth control. And the law also stated, any person who assists, abets, counsels, causes, hires, or commands another person to commit any offense may be prosecuted and punished as if he were the principal offender. So basically anybody that's helping people get the birth control is also submit to getting prosecuted. So in this case, this happens in 1965, so we're flashing forward a little bit. Estelle Griswold, the executive director of Planned Parenthood in Connecticut, and Dr. C. Lee Buxton, the doctor and professor of medical school at Yale, were arrested and found guilty of accessories of providing illegal contraception. And they said that providing contraception was constitutional and that the law from 1879 in Connecticut was unconstitutional, and they brought it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court actually ruled 7-2 in their favor, with Justice Douglas being the main component there. And this was a huge groundbreaking case in regards to privacy matters, because it actually had the government involving itself in private matters of people in order to restore back their privacy. So they had to interfere so that they could no longer impede on the personal matters of people. And as Justice Douglas was talking about this case, he said that the Bill of Rights actually guarantees and creates zones of privacy for people, and that it does this through the Third Amendment, which is the prohibition against quartering of soldiers, the Fourth Amendment, which affirms the right of the people to be secure in their persons, in their houses, and papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures, the Fifth Amendment, which is the self-incrimination clause, and the Ninth Amendment, which is, quote, the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. So with this concept of the Bill of Rights giving zones of privacy to people, kind of leads into my case, which I'm very passionate about, which is the Hobby Lobby versus Burwell case of 2014. And kind of the stance that I've taken on this is the government shouldn't impede on the personal rights of citizens, and neither should businesses. And the matters of the bedroom are personal, but the matters of reproductive rights, the personal rights, and one's health care belong to no one except the individual. So the Hobby Lobby case was the devout Christian owners of Hobby Lobby, which is a craft store, and a for-profit organization, so that they and other close-knit family for-profit businesses should be exempt from providing certain birth control in their healthcare plan, because those birth controls violate their religious freedoms and their religious rights. And the ruling of Hobby Lobby went to the Supreme Court and was actually ruled in their favor 5-4. That said, allowing closely held for-profit corporations to be exempt from a law its owners religiously object to if there is a less restrictive means of furthering the law's interest according to the provisions of the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. So the thing about this case is that it doesn't actually really deal with religious freedoms as it does with personal rights. And you have to ask yourself, what does this do to the personal rights of the women employees and their families with their health care? And why is a business owner's personal religious beliefs enforced on an employee who might not even have the same beliefs as them? And withholding certain health care does not directly impact your religious rights. It doesn't, withholding health care or birth control from an employee doesn't affect your life. It affects the reproductive rights and the family life and the healthcare rights of the employee that's not getting them anymore. So one of the judges brought up a point of what ground does Hobby Lobby stand on in regards to violating their religious rights. According to the Food and Drug Administration, all 4 of the contraceptive methods Hobby Lobby objects to, which were Plan B, Ella, and 2 intrauterine devices, do not prevent the implementation of fertilized eggs into the uterus. It just prevents fertilization, which, scientifically speaking, is not a form of abortion. And that's Hobby Lobby's entire case, was that these birth control methods were a form of abortion, and scientifically speaking, they're not, because there's no fertilization to begin with. It just prevents fertilization. So, if this is an abortion, what religious right is it impeding on? If abortion is not happening, then why is it impeding on their religious rights? It's not. And this also can kind of segue into other religions also saying, different religious business owners also saying, like a Jehovah's Witness, they don't allow blood transfusions. Oh, well, if they, this can kind of segue into, if we don't believe in blood transfusions, then in your health care, you will no longer be able to do blood transfusions because we don't believe in it. So it's a very slippery slope as opposed to, it's a very slippery slope, and we need to take into consideration who is actually being affected by the law. And while religious freedoms and religious rights are very important, it's much more important to consider who the law is actually impacting. And that is my presentation, and I hope you guys liked it, and I really enjoyed this class, and good luck to everybody.